Hello there, my name is Thomas O'Regan and I'm a professional property investor here in Australia. Now today I just wanted to go through what are the purchasing costs, a little bit of a breakdown on what are the purchasing costs when you purchase an investment property. Now there may be a little bit of a difference between the purchasing costs when you buy an investment property versus when you buy a principal place of residence, and there may be different costs depending on what sort of structure you buy the property in. And I just mean what's like the makeup of how much deposit you're putting in and so on and so forth. And I'll just touch on that for a second. For example, if you put a 20% deposit down, you do not have to pay lender's mortgage insurance in most circumstances. But if you do put down a deposit that's less than 20%, you will, in most circumstances, have to pay lender's mortgage insurance. And I say in most circumstances because there are some lenders out there that do not require lender's mortgage insurance with a deposit less than 20%, which is pretty cool. Okay, so but basically the breakdown is the largest chunk of money that you have to that you will require to acquire an asset as the purchasing cost is the deposit. Typically the next biggest cost is stamp duty on the property, and there's many calculators on the internet that can help you calculate what are the stamp duty costs on the property. But basically the stamp duty cost is a percentage of the property value. The best stamp duty calculator I've found is the CBA stamp duty calculator, Commonwealth Bank of Australia stamp duty calculator. I've used that for 6 years. It's amazing. The other cost that you will require is legal costs. Legal costs will cover the settlement of legal costs. I bundle it in with all the costs required to settle the property, because the legal team, the conveyancer or the solicitor that you are using and you will need to use to purchase a property will be a cost. Their services will be a cost, and then they will tag on additional costs, which are the costs of settlement, like PEXA, title searches, and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so your solicitor or your conveyancer will handle all that costs, and those costs are roughly about, it could be more, it could be less, but those costs are roughly about $2,000 for the legal cost of purchasing a property. Now, other costs, other fees, I would recommend you 100% do as part of your acquisition costs are a building and pest inspection. Now, building and pest inspections can range anywhere from $300, being very cheap, to standard is about $500-600, and then it can go a bit more expensive than that. But you can get the job done quite to a high standard for about $500-600. Now, other costs when acquiring a property you need to consider is when you purchase an investment property, you'll need to have some sort of buffer. You may or may not, but I would recommend, especially if it's your first time, to have some sort of buffer funds on the purchase, okay? Because any one of these costs can go higher or lower, and also when you purchase the property and acquire it and have it, you just also want to have a buffer there in place for anything that could potentially go wrong in the ownership of the property. Typically, a good buffer could be anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 per property, and it's very circumstantial, that amount. But yeah, that's a good starting point, $5,000 to $10,000 as a buffer. Now, hopefully, this has given you a little bit of insight into the costs of acquiring a property and how to start your calculations and estimations when you're looking at purchasing property. See you guys next time. Bye.